like to invite Dr. Dalia Said, who's a consultant colleague of mine in Nottingham, and she's going to talk about pterygium surgery, how to prevent recurrence and how to treat recurrence.
Oh. Oh. Can I go back? Can I go back first? Just. Are you going to open it? Thank you very much. It's not on yet. He's putting. No, I think you just need to go back.
Go back to the beginning.
Go back. Start from the beginning, please. Yeah, thank you. So I'm going to speak to you about how to prevent recurrence and how to treat recurrence. We all know that recurrence is the most common complications of pterygium surgery, and pretty much almost 87% will happen in the first year. There are definitely risk factors such as young age, black race, patients having dry eyes. If you have a fleshy pterygium, the surgical techniques also can affect the recurrence, especially if you leave a Barrett's sclera or there is increased inflammation, which are culprits for recurrence. Other factors have been implicated, such as abnormalities in the P53 gene, which is a tumor suppressor gene responsible for promotion epithelializations and apoptosis. Also, some people have said that expression of VEGF receptors also is implicated, and even some viruses have been implicated in pterygium recurrence. So we have really few rules to put down to prevent or reduce recurrence. First, know when to operate. So if you have a patient like this with a very thin, not fleshy pterygium, with especially if there is a Stocker line where there is hemosiderin deposits along the front surface of the pterygium, then you know that this is not a progressive pterygium. So do not operate in cases like this unless the patient really doesn't like it for cosmetic purpose. Again, there is the cousin of pterygium, which is called diffuse keratoconjunctival proliferation, where you get a limbal roll and then you can get fibrovascular proliferation on top, which takes a very, very long time to progress. So these cases you really don't need to operate on, especially if you have a central island of healthy corneal epithelium with good visual acuity. This shows collagenous degeneration on top of the elastotic degeneration when you take it out, and it is a very, very slowly going and can be stable for many years. If you see Fuchs flecks, which are little flecks that you can see here in front of the head of the pterygium, so these are potentially active basal epithelial cells and potentially have been implicated with progression of pterygium. So really there are many, many classifications for pterygium. There is no really verdict on which one to use, but generally a fleshy pterygium which is also vascular, highly vascular like this one, 10-3, this one is one to remove. But you can have still another fleshy pterygium like the lower picture, but this is not an active pterygium, it's not vascularized, so you don't really need to remove that one except for cosmetic reason or if it's affecting vision. And then the vertical height also have been implicated, but you can have same vertical height with one which is very fleshy and progressive, and the same vertical height with one which is not active and does not need to be removed. So you have to really use your common sense which ones to operate on which ones you don't. But if it's affecting visual acuity, it's progressive, causing astigmatism, restriction of movement, and even cosmetic, then it is an indication for removal. Then the second rule is the actual surgical techniques. Avoid surgical techniques which are known to have a higher incidence of recurrence. You do not want to leave a Barrett's sclera at all without any epithelial cover, because that induces inflammation, and inflammation is a big culprit for recurrence. Obviously avoid old techniques such as beta irradiation, thiotepa, which are obsolete nowadays. The amniotic membrane has been used to cover the area of the defect after pterygium surgery, and although it can work, but it is still associated with high rate of recurrence. So if you don't have enough conjunctiva to cover the area of the defect and you want to use an amniotic membrane, you can do that, but take a small area of autoconjunctival graft and stick it on the amnion. Then it's a source of epithelium and you don't have a large area where the amnion is bare, and this has been shown to reduce the incidence of recurrence. This is an example of a patient which we used the amniotic membrane because the conjunctiva was stuck down after recurrence, but we had recurrence very just a few weeks after, very soon. So that's why amniotic membrane on its own can be associated with recurrence. So it's been now the standard procedures to use conjunctival autograft in pterygium surgery, and we usually tend to use fibrin glue, and randomized studies have showed that using conjunctival autograft reduces the recurrence rate of about 16% in comparison to 42 if you're using an autoconj graft instead of the amniotic membrane. And even in recurrent pterygioms, if you again use an autoconj graft, then you can reduce the recurrence further. Now, in your surgical techniques, it is very good to do extensive resection of the pterygium tissue, and up to even the semilunar folds, and these have showed the much less recurrence rates. People have also used slit techniques with extensive removal. Not necessarily that the slit will affect the results, because actually you do have the stem cells available in all of the other quadrants which can cover this area, but the actual extensive removal of the pterygium tissues is the key in doing these surgeries. Adjuvants, antimetabolites, so intraoperative MMC alkylating agents, or topical events, anti-VEGFs have been used, and subconjunctival 5FU we use quite often, and I'll show you later. And even there have been reports of inhibition of fibrosis with rho kinase inhibitors. So we always use fibrin glue because it's easier, surgical time is less, and definitely less recurrence because there are no sutures, and the sutures are also culprit for inflammation. And people have also used autologous blood, and which is cheaper, but it is associated with more graft displacement. It is important when you're doing your autoconjunctival graft that the graft is very thin. Otherwise, if it's too thick, then you can get a Dehlen effect and you can get more inflammation, which can promote recurrence, like in this case. Now, when you do an autoconjunctival graft, you will find that the graft will swell initially because of exudation, edema, and transudation of tissue, but then eventually it will all settle back. So this is 1 week after. Don't be worried if you see that quite edematous graft initially, because eventually it will just become very absorbed, and as soon as the vascularization happens between the autoconjunctival graft and the patient's tissue. The rule number 3 is really recognize conjunctival recurrence. So you really want to treat these recurrences at this stage, when the recurrence is starting behind the autoconj graft or from the sides of the autoconj graft. You don't want to wait until you have a full recurrence to start treating these patients. So what we do, and it was given very good results with us, is inject subconjunctival 5-fluorouracil 0.1 or to 0.2 mils, 2.5 milligrams per mil, and repeat this weekly until you abort the recurrence. And this is a patient who had 5 recurrences, and then he had to have 10 injections of over 5 months and completely settled, as you can see here in the last. This is another patient with 5 times recurrence, and the 5th time was quite extensive removal of the pterygium and even reformation of the fornices. He had a tendency of keloid formation, you can see here, and this is the area where the autoconj graft was taken. But again, he had a recurrence, and we knew he will have a recurrence, so we were ready with repeated injection of 5FU until the patient completely settled. And since then, his son came again with a recurrence, but then with 5FU that was halted in place. So since then, we've done quite a few patients published, and since this publication, more patients have been done. We rarely have to operate on recurrent pterygium now if it's our own patients, because we recognize conjunctival recurrence early, and we start injecting them with 5FU with excellent results. And even one other thing you can do if you have a very fleshy pterygium, you can actually inject the primary pterygium with 5FU together with Avastin or just 5FU to reduce the vascularity, to reduce the thickness of the pterygium, and that has been shown to be much better effect with the reduced VEGF and other factors of inflammation and promoting of epithelialization. And later, when we've taken these pterygium tissue out, we found that these patients had never had any recurrence. So this is just a video to show you the technique of excision of recurrent pterygium. It's very important to do extensive dissection of the pterygium tissue from under the conjunctiva, and even sometimes it is scarred down to the muscle. So if it is scarred down to the muscle, you have to hook the muscle and make sure you remove all the fibrovascular tissue. Do not reach the fat, but make extensive excision, especially from the sides, because most of the recurrences usually come from the sides. And once you've done that, then we put MMC 0.04%, 5 minutes under the conjunctiva and 3 minutes on the sclera. Once you've done that, then you can wash profusely and then take your autoconjunctival graft and use it, glue it in place. This is the graft. You need to make the graft as thin as possible, slightly bigger than the defect if you can, and move it to where you want, and then put the glue, the thick and the thin components, and put it in place, and then also glue the conjunctival graft to the patient's own conjunctiva, and you can even use the fibrin glue to glue the area where you've taken the conj graft off. The future is actually targeting the MMP genes and to reduce the pterygium occurrence. But up until then, we need to identify patients who are at risk of recurrence, avoid surgical techniques that are associated with high recurrence, extensive surgical dissection, use of adjuvant anti-metabolites, excision with autoconj graft is the gold standard, but recognize and treat early conjunctival recurrence. Thank you.